also owns JYB3 Group. And one of if I may say so personally, you're a man of faith, and just a lovely, lovely family, and just truly authentic, fine Christian people. Now, John Y. Brown IV, we met through, as most of you all know, I worked for Jamie Comer at the Department of Agriculture, and Quattro, as I called him there a couple of times, he was mine and the commissioner's intern. And so we developed a friendship there and stayed connected. And if anybody talks to John or Johnny at any length at all, you will quickly see that if you play your cards right, and I've told you this before, God's got big plans for you. So whichever one of you all wants to go first, please welcome John Y. Brown.
Yeah. Go right ahead. Hi, first I'd like to thank you so much, Rachel, for putting this together. And I'd like to thank the restaurant for letting us hold this event here, and thank everyone for coming. I guess you all saw the governor's race last week. Not to get right into that, but full disclosure, I was with the Comer campaign, but I really like Matt Bevin a lot. I really respect him. We'll see how the results come out on Thursday, but I'm very confident that Matt Bevin is absolutely the right candidate for compared to Conway for governor. Yeah. still holding out hope for my guy, but if it ends up being Bevin, he's my guy. And I think that if you look at the statistics, Kentucky is fifth from last in terms of credit rating in our nation. In March, we had a net loss of private sector jobs, and our regulatory structure compared to our states nearby is very tough for business. And if you look at Indiana and you look at Tennessee, they both have Republican governors, and they both have a business climate that's much stronger than ours. And if we want to have jobs in the state, we have to have right to work, we have to have lower taxes, and we have to have a Republican governor, whoever that is. And so I really feel it's very important that we all work hard and that we all go out and make sure we support whoever our nominee is and elect a Republican this fall. Of course, next year when it comes to the presidential election, we're also going to have a larger role than we typically have. The caucus, we now have a caucus here, and it's going to be earlier than it usually is, I believe. And that means we're going to have a bigger role than we ever have in choosing who our next nominee is going to be as a party. And whoever you support, I just really recommend you go out and work for him. Obviously, vote for him. And next year, by the way, Kentucky will not be a given for Republicans. Bill Clinton won here twice in the 1990s, 92 and 96. So I think we're going to have to really earn a victory in the state come next fall, or come a fall from now. Yeah. And I think we'll pull it out. But whoever our nominee, I think that we'll have to work hard to do that. Just very briefly, what my story is. I'm the fourth, as Rachel said, and I came from 4 generations of Democrats. My great grandpa, John Brown the First, I get to call him Senior, passed away before I was born, but he actually served in Congress under Franklin Roosevelt during the New Deal, and was very liberal, may I say, but also a very good man. Can't hold it against him too much. And my grandfather was also a Democrat. Although he is called by some the last Republican governor of the state because he did lower taxes, he did fight for limited government. So in many senses, he was one of our last conservative governors in Kentucky. So it's not totally out of the blue for me to become a Republican. I registered as a Republican about 3 years ago, and it wasn't even a hard choice for me. I'm afraid that the Democrat Party, about 40 years ago, I think, was a much more reasonable party. I think it stood for the middle class at one point in history. I think there were times when they've done some good things, but the simple fact of the matter is I think that they've moved so far to the left, moved away from, I think, the center of what makes our nation great. I think that there are certain values that really matter. I'd say that free markets, small government, I'd say a Judeo-Christian value system, and I'd say a love for our country. And I would never suggest that Democrats don't love our country, but sometimes they don't understand how great our values really are. when I took history class in high school, we were often taught that our founders were bad guys, and that's just not right. I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's an incorrect view of history. We are not a perfect nation, but we are a nation that overwhelmingly has been a force of good in the world, and we need to remember that. We're also a nation that was built on Christianity, on Christian values, religious freedom, but also fundamentally our legal system, all based on Christianity. And I think that we need to get back to understanding that. So when I registered Republican, by no means are Republicans perfect, by the way. They have their issues where I don't agree on them, but overall they are so much closer to what I believe makes our nation great right now than what the Democrats are. And I think that we really have a lot to fight for. I think we're at a crossroads right now as a nation. I think that whoever you support, it's not about the party, by the way. It's about getting things done. It's about creating jobs. It's about fighting for our values. It's about fighting what can be a very dangerous world. It's about standing up for our laws, enforcing for instance immigration. We need to enforce our immigration laws, which not everybody always stands up for. So, on issue after issue, I think it's so clear that not everybody here may not be conservative, but I think we're all on the right side of history here. I think that we're all doing the right thing, and I think that I really appreciate you all coming out here. I just wanted to give a brief speech before any questions, so yeah. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer.
You're 21, John?
That's right.
Wow.
When are you running for office?
Next year.
He's running for mayor against you.
What? I'm at Bellarmine.
Are you going to primary me if I run for mayor?
What? No, I'm running for president next year. I haven't announced it yet.
You can have
Gotta be
president.
33.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm going to change that.
Oh,
My dad's a lobbyist, so.
executive order.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's your, are you going to school now?
Yeah, I'm at Bellarmine University.
What's
do
your
you
major?
study?
Economics. Yeah.
So, would you agree that a lot of, well, I'll just ask you, where do you think people your age are politically, as far as just ideologically? I mean, it just seems like there's just a strong libertarian
Yeah.
influence that's out there among young people.
I'd say yes, but actually, if you look at young people, we're just as pro-life as people who are older. A lot of people are surprised to hear that, but I think there's also definitely a lot of people, young people I talk to, are very libertarian, but they also, I think, are very much believers in the family structure. They don't like, I think, this kind of ride. I don't know how many the exact figure, but there's way too many fatherless homes out there, and it's certainly not for that. So I think that yes, there's a very libertarian streak out there, but I think that the idea that we should somehow abandon social conservatism is just wrong. I think that we need to revamp it, reform it, but certainly not get rid of it. I mean, there's definitely a place for that appeals to younger people, like myself.
I like that answer.
Do you support bringing an NBA team to Louisville?
Yes, I do. 100%. 110% actually.
What about a D-League team?
What?
What about a D-League team instead?
I'll take it. It would preferably NBA, but yeah. I think that we have, basketball is such an important institution in the state. I think that we ought to have an NBA team, or at least a D-League team, yeah.
I think anything that fills up Freedom Hall
Exactly,
and
yeah.
generates more money
Yeah,
is good.
that's right, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if you look
Arena
at...
football, D-League team,
Yeah.
hockey,
Yeah.
it all.
But, we always talk about UK, U of L, but even Western Kentucky and Murray State both have great programs, too. So, just so many great programs in the state.
Hey, Bellarmine's got pretty good basketball.
We do,
team.
you're right, absolutely, yeah. We did. We made it to the not quite the finals, but we made it to we did pretty well this year. Yeah.
Final four.
Final four. That's right. Yeah.
So what are your plans for the future? What are you looking at?
Well, I'm definitely looking at considering some time right now at Bellarmine, majoring in economics, and I'm looking at spending some time in the private sector. I do want to go into politics one day, but I also want to get some experience in the private sector where the jobs are really created.
Yeah, will you be my son?
Yes.
It's great.
Are Christmas dinners interesting?
Yes,
Yeah,
they-
it's kind of, yeah, go ahead.
I'd say that they're pretty interesting. Yeah, some very lively conversation.
John,
Yeah.
have you got a presidential nominee yet?
I actually like them all so far, but I'm gonna really wait until the campaign kind of kicks out to see who I like the best. And I like the favorite son, Rand Paul, an awful lot. But you know, I'll have to wait until the election to full swing to see who I support.
John, Rachel and I have an eBay business,
I don't have much to add, or I can't top that. I'm just really proud of Johnny. And we, you know, I guess I knew at an early age. I mean, he's very strong-willed, I think was the way they describe children like Johnny. They would be not stubborn, but strong-willed. But he's always had his own mind, his own ideas, and he wouldn't, you know, back down from them. And I have great respect. He's a man of conviction. And, you know, we joked some when he was really young, I guess, 2000, that would have, you would have, I guess when you were 6, when the Bush-Gore presidential race was going on, and Johnny was just starting to ask about politics, and he said he liked George Bush more, and I asked him why, and he said because of the cowboy boots, and he let people play with guns, which is, you know, some of the mothers, Johnny's friends, weren't letting them play with toy guns, and he just, that was wrong, you know. I remember he was about 12, and I made the mistake of trying to put some spyware on his laptop, and, you know, never worried about trying to, but parents were doing that, and I was tracking it, and he was going to some gaming sites, but then he was going to Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh, and Jesus, I don't know what I do with it, and before, we were just kind of laughing about it, and then I hear Johnny is coming down the stairs, and he says, "Dad," because he's angry with me, and he said, "Take this spyware off." He found it, you know. And I said, "Well, you know, I trust you." And he said he made the argument that I was violating his constitutional rights, invading his privacy, and I was so impressed. I said, "Give me the computer. I'm taking it off. You win." You know. And he's and then we started having really long, substantive discussions, and I just have great respect for his thoughtfulness and in clarity in his thinking, and I always encouraged him to think for himself. And when he was before his 18th birthday, he said, "You know, I've got to make a decision. You know, I'm going to register. I'm excited about being able to vote. I know you're a Democrat, granddad's a Democrat, but I said, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm a Republican." I said, "Well, then the choice is easy, you know. And he said, "Well, what do people think?" And we were sitting in my office talking, and I said, "Well, you know, the legacy you have from your grandfather, and hopefully me, is to be true to yourself and be independent-minded, and to try to contribute something in the world. And if you aren't true to yourself, you're violating that legacy. It's not about being Democrat or Republican. So if you want to carry on the legacy, you be true to yourself. You go register Republican, and you go do right by that, and do the best you can, and find your own niche, be your own man." He's just I think it took all the pressure off of him, and he